What's up, everybody? This is Azariel here in my glasses for another episode of the Wrap Up Review Series where I review games that I have recently finished. And in this game, I will be speaking on or reviewing Transformers Prime, the game for the Nintendo DS. Not the console version, but the Nintendo DS version. That's what I'm speaking on. Um, Let me just throw out like a few disclaimers just so you guys can know, just in case you haven't watched my previous videos where I was speaking on them. Um, Throughout this playthrough, I had to do two things. Well, I didn't have to do two things. Like I had to do one thing, but the other one I'm gonna speak on that. Um, I don't know much about Transformers Prime. Let me just say that. So I had to go and I had to do like a little bit of research on it. Like I didn't really spend too much time on it and things like that. I mean, it's Transformers, whoopee, you know what I'm saying? But I did like some back like very minor background checking on it, and also I know a lot of people were concerned about the music in the game. I turned it off after like the third upload that I did of the game. The reason for that is, just in case you haven't watched the video where I was speaking on it, I was getting copyright strikes, and you know, it prevented people from certain countries from watching it. And I'm smart enough to know that, you know, it's more than people. It's people in other countries that play these games on the Nintendo DS, and they want help with their games as well. So if me having the music in there is preventing them from watching it, on top of the fact that I'm getting copyright strikes, I have to take the music out. So unfortunately, that's what happened from I think part three onward. So yeah. So again, like I said, I don't really know too much about Transformers Prime, so don't expect me to be all knowing about this game. I'm just gonna speak on my experience with the game. What do I think, you know, about it, and then I'm gonna give it my score. So Transformers Prime is a new Transformers series that debuted on the Hub network, and now they're showing it on the CW network, I believe. And it introduces some new characters to the Transformers universe. You of course, there's Optimus Prime. He's in every damn thing. um, there's Bumblebee. There's RC, which is like this motorcycle. There's Bulkhead. I don't know why, but for some reason, I kept calling this guy Iron Bulk. For some reason, like I just kept calling him Iron Bulk. I don't know if that was another Transformer that I'm thinking about, but yeah, his name is Bulkhead, and he's this big army, heavily armored tank vehicle. And there's Ratchet, which is an ambulance. That's pretty much all the characters as far as the Transformers go. And there's three human characters that work with three of the Transformers. There's Jack, who is like this teenage boy. He works with RC. Or more so, like RC has been assigned to protecting Jack. Um, um, Bulkhead, he's been assigned to protecting Maki. I believe that's that girl's name. Yeah, like her name is Maki. I'm sorry, like there's some background noise that's kind of distracting me. But yeah, Maki, and then there's Ralph, who I believe he's been assigned to uh, Bumblebee, I believe. And they all work together to, of course, stop the Decepticons and their plans for world domination. And there are 13 missions in this game where you play as each of the Transformers, and each of them have their own unique fighting styles and their own combos that pretty much, as far as the controls go, they kind of feel the same, even though they fight differently. The controls pretty much make them just feel the same. The controls, okay, what you have at your disposal is a lock on button, which is L, uh, your shield, which is R, Y is your gun. Of course, like what you can charge up, and you can shoot this charge blast that knocks the enemies back and does a nice size and does like a nice bit of damage. Um, you have your jump button, and then you have your combo button as well, and then there's the transforming button. Of course, every transformer game has it. Um, that allows you to go in your vehicle mode, and of course, there's a combination of things you can do. Like you learn about new combos. Very few, of course, but like you learn about the new combo combinations, inputs that they teach you about. Um, like while you're in vehicle mode, and you kind of learn about this early in the game, you can charge up your vehicle mode by holding down the attack button. And while you're holding it down, while you're holding it down and you're driving, I have to get that correct. While you're holding it down and you're driving, and like once it's fully charged, you can like do this dash move that can help you either move out the way quickly, or there are some chase sequences in the game that can help you uh, like catch up to whoever it is that you're trying to catch up to. For some sequences, there are moments where you have to like pretty much dodge all these rocks, and you have to swerve. Well, like it's pretty much like a uh, driving game at times. So they do try to give you some variety in gameplay, which is nice. Um, Another thing, uh, they never really, I think they're called charged attacks, but what happens is when you're in your vehicle mode and you just tap attack twice, what's going to happen is that they're going to activate this charged punch move or this charged kick or whatever they do. But this charged attack, it can help uh, like when your enemy is like has their shields up. That's a good way to break it down in like one hit. Uh, and at certain times like that, oh, keep in mind this is unorganized, unorthodox, and unbiased reviewing. Unorthodox, unorganized, and unbiased viewing. Um, Reviewing. um, but yeah, just moving on to the gameplay itself. Uh, the gameplay in the game, as I mentioned before, even though the different Transformers they fight different, they still pretty much play the same because the controls are, yeah. But they do a good job with giving you a variety in gameplay, and there are like different sequences. For example, with RC, there's this one mission where Jack gets captured by Arachnid. I believe that's that Decepticon name. That's one of the new Decepticons. That's supposed to be I'm guessing that's supposed to be like the remake uh of Black Arachnia, maybe. But yeah, well, Arachnid, she captures Jack, and she starts flying away with him, and then you go on like this highway chasing sequence with RC, and she has to catch Arachnid, and the whole time like you have to shoot at her while you're driving, while dodging all of these different obstacles. You know, these roadblocks that can damage you if you don't jump over them. Arachnid, she shoots web like at the ground, and it slows you down. You constantly have to charge up your your dash to, you know, to try to keep that distance between you and Arachnid at a minimum while still shooting at her, of course. There's ramps, and as the sequence continues, she's gonna get further and further away from you, and you just have to continuously dash towards her more frequently while still dodging all these obstacles. So that's a pretty cool scene. Um, Another thing that they have that's very unique in this game is they have upgrades. Now, basically, what the upgrades is, okay, at the upper left of the screen, of the top screen, you will see their life bar, which is in like this bluish green color, and at the very bottom of the life bar, there is this yellow bar, which is your upgrade bar. Once that fills up at the bottom of the screen, there's going to be this big Autobot insignia, and it's going to have upgrade at the top of it. And when the yellow bar fills up, you just click upgrade, and they power up, and they get a new weapon. Uh, of course, and it does a tremendous amount of damage. Um, but I don't think some of those weapons are too accurate, because I've seen a couple episodes of Transformers Prime, and okay, from what I've seen in the game, RC, her upgrade is like some daggers, I think, of some sort. With Bumblebee, he has these two cannons, I believe. Uh, with Bulkhead, he has a hammer, and with Optimus Prime, he has a sword, and with Ratchet, he has a gun, or like this giant wrench style gun. Um, um, yeah, but like I said, I don't think that's too accurate, because from the episodes that I seen in the show, a couple of those Transformers, such as Optimus, like he didn't have an axe in the show; he had a sword. So I don't know if maybe it was just like the episode that I was watching. Maybe he does have an axe in the show. Maybe he lost it during that episode or something, and he picked up a sword. I don't know, but I don't think that's too accurate towards the show. Um, but yeah, it does do, those upgrades are very helpful. They're very easy to get, but they don't last long. They don't last long. Like, they can run out quickly. And another thing to mention is that when you're in upgrade mode, your guns, they shoot charge blasts. Like, like you pretty much have like for the rest of the, for as long as that upgrade is activated, you have charged shots, and you can just continuously shoot, but that will just drain your upgrade meter faster, and you'll end up, you know, getting out of upgrade mode a lot quicker. So you got to be aware of that when you use that. But it does become helpful. Um, the graphics in the game are, of course, they're Nintendo DS graphics. They're pixelated. I don't really pay too much attention to that. Just as long as the gameplay is good and the graphics aren't oh so bad. Because, you know, like, I'm not one of these graphic Nazis or whatever they call themselves. You know, like, I don't judge an entire game based on just that and then try to call it a bad game because the pixels are in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like the game is pixelated. Um, but you know, like, the graphics, as far as like modern standards, they aren't that good. Um, the music, even though you guys didn't hear it all, I listen to it, and the music is actually pretty good in my opinion. Um, it was well done. Uh, However, this game has, like, they didn't proportion out each of the Transformers missions all that well, because sometimes, like, you got to play with Optimus Prime more, and you got to play with RC about like 2 or 3 times. Then you got to play with Bumblebee like 3 times. Then with like Bulkhead, like you got to play with him multiple times. But you only got to play with Ratchet once throughout the 13 missions. You only get to play with Ratchet once. And even though like his mission that he did, that he was being used for, even though it was long, it just wasn't enough. Like I would have liked to played as Ratchet more than just that one time. Everybody else got like 2 to 3 missions, and Ratchet only got one, so that was kind of lame to me. Uh, yeah. Last thing I would like to say is that this game has literally minor replay value. The only replay value is that they let you go back and then like redo all the missions, so maybe you can get like a higher score. Maybe they'll give you something for it. I don't know. I don't really count that. Like I don't really count that as actual replay value, because when you buy a game, you pretty much buying it just for the main storyline. That's all you're buying it for. Let's be honest. You don't really care about the side content until after you beat that main storyline. And based on what that side content is, you're going to be happy or sad. Um, this game has no replay value. Unless you're a completionist and you want to have the highest score or whatever, then maybe you'll go back and you'll replay the missions that you got low grades on. Because in this game, like, they grade you at the end of every mission. Then you get like a A, a B, a C, or whatever, what have you. And if you say like you got like a C on some of the missions and you want to go back and you want to get A's on them, on like things of that nature, then you can go back and you can do that. Um, no, they don't let you pick different transformers for the various missions. Like there's no free mode, as in like some games where, say for example, in the storyline they force you to play with this character, but then you can go back and you can play that same mission with a different character. They don't let you do that in this game. You still have to play that one mission with that character that they originally gave you with the for that storyline. But yeah, like, really, this game has no replay value. On top of that, I finished this game in 2 hours and 33 minutes. So there you go, 2 hours and 33 minutes of actual gameplay. I mean, like, there's no post game content where you can try to, like, replay the story as the Decepticons, which I thought would have been a given. Truth be told, I thought it would have been a given if they would have did that, um, but they didn't, which is lame. Who knows? Like, maybe in the console version, like they allow you to. Maybe they allow you to do that in the console version. I don't know, but in this game, they don't let you do that. So, I mean, like, this game is so and so. I mean, it's action packed. The boss fights are interesting to say the least. Uh, they are fun. They are fun. Like, the boss fights are fun, but sometimes, like, they can get drawn out if you don't know what to do, and it can get boring based on that. But they are fun to say, the least. I enjoyed them somewhat. Some boss fights are, I would say, more difficult than others. But once you get the patterns down, they're pretty simple. And then, like, But there, even though I've said that, nothing really posed a challenge in this game, except for like the racing scenes, like where you're trying to like race out of the buildings or like race to try to catch up to someone. Other than those, there was no really like those modes were fun, but they didn't really try to challenge you outside of that. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't really try to challenge you with like the fights because the fights are just too simple. Little nephew screaming, but yeah, they didn't really challenge you too much, especially with the boss fights. I mean, again, like some of these, the majority of the boss fights in this game are just so easy. Um, but there's like a little help screen that pops up to let you know what to do when. Um, Even in a final boss, which was like I would say like the one where you have like the most fun because you have an unlimited upgrade. You know, Optimus Prime activates the Matrix in his chest, and he gets an unlimited upgrade for the rest of that fight. Uh, it was fun, you know, for while it lasted. I enjoyed it, um, but I have no incentive to go back and replay this game, and I honestly don't believe anybody else will. Maybe the console version can offer more, which I'm pretty sure that it does. But as far as the Nintendo DS version, factoring in everything, like the controls are pretty responsive. The controls, the handling of the controls, they're pretty good. Um, Another problem that I had with the vehicle mode, for some reason, like the game doesn't give you like a sharp turn. For some reason, every time like you try to turn while you're in vehicle mode, it does this giant U-turn before you can, like you can't just turn and like try to do like a tight turn like when you're trying to steer. It literally the vehicle modes does a complete U-turn before you can turn around, and it can be annoying sometimes when you're trying to get away from the enemy attacks and they're flying right above you, and you have to take this big U-turn and then you end up running into something. Like you can't really move the camera um, because of the lock-on feature. You can only lock on to so many. It's only like one enemy at a time, and if you only got one enemy on there, then you're gonna have to do something to to take that lock off, that lock on mode off, so you can roam around free. Um, so the camera isn't that big of an issue, but still it can be. I wish they would have made that better. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So looking at everything, the music, the controls, the missions, no replay value, the fact that you can only use Ratchet once when everybody else can be used like twice or three times. Um, the boss battles are not that challenging. You constantly get help with the controls, so it's not like you're trying to figure everything out on your own as to what to do when, which is good somewhat. Um, because sometimes, well, like for me, I know I like to try to figure out these things on my own, and the game kind of takes that away from you. I don't know, like I just grew up in an era where you pretty much had to find out things on your own. It wasn't really too much help with okay, like you're supposed to do this when, like you pretty much had to figure everything out on your own. So like I'm thinking that of it from that perspective, but them helping you in the game isn't that bad. So um, yeah, like you constantly get hints as to what to do, which can be helpful. Um, and the pop-up screen isn't all in the camera's face like in some games that I've played in the past, which is again a good thing. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. So looking at everything, I I would give Transformers Prime a 5 out of 10. It has no replay value. It's fun while it lasts. It's mad short. You can get through it in 2 hours and 33 minutes. I mean, come on. The graphics are subpar. You know, the music is good. The controls are good, except in vehicle mode when you have to do a turn. It makes a giant U-turn, which can get annoying and aggravating at times. Um, yeah, and the combat gets repetitive at times because it's pretty much the same thing, wash, rinse, repeat. You know, so factoring in all of that, it's a 5 out of 10. I mean, obviously you would get this game for the console version, but if you have a Nintendo DS, and I guess if you have some kids and they want to play Transformers, this would be something good to give them. You know, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's everything. I'm gonna end this video here. So you guys take care. I'm Azario signing out. See you for the next A-DSplay. Peace.